Really? Is this the day? Is this the day I shoot my sewing room studio tour? Oh my gosh. It's straightened enough, but it's always a work in progress. Hi, I'm Jill, and I'm a sewing machine enthusiast. I teach sewing, I love making quilts, and I've recently gotten to bag making, and I've been sewing since I was 11 years old, and my room is ever changing, and I'd love to give you a tour, because I finally found my dream space. Come on down. So when you walk into my sewing space, which was considered a family room when this house was built, but we didn't need that extra space for that. So I was able to have a, oh, I gotta start over. You're gonna have a blooper reel.
That's all right.
So the first thing you see when you walk into my space is a ping pong table. Actually, it only gets to be used as a ping pong table about 2 times a year over a holiday. And you're not allowed to look under any curtains. Because I am a work in progress and I have a lot of stuff. Because I like to do a lot of things. I am a maker of things. I like to keep busy, and I just got back from teaching over 140 junior high students how to make a tote bag. And so my ping pong table was used for cutting and preparing for that class. I like to do batch sewing, and I sent, over COVID, sent 3,000 masks across the country. So this ping pong table is great for a cutting table and to organize projects. And like I said, poor Bob doesn't get to play ping pong very often. My dear husband. This is where it started for me, my love of sewing and sewing machines, age 11, where I was able to use my great-grandmother from Sweden, her treadle sewing machine. And what I love about it is in this drawer here are buttons from my great-grandmother, my grandmother, my mother, and some buttons of my own. But at 11 years old, I was making Barbie clothes on this machine. And it's a model, Singer Model 66, red eye. The top is in rough shape. The veneer is kind of toast, but I've decided rather than to refurbish it that I would keep it just the way it is. And even when the power goes out here in the country, I'm able to do some stitching. Above it I have a puzzle that was put together, and it is a model, same model, red eye Singer sewing machine. So I kind of like the setting here. And my dear husband made me this bench to go with it. I love the iron work of the old machines, and so he made it out of piping, and I covered it. So I've got a nice little spot here. A friend from a garage sale gave me this picture. It was for sale for $5 at the garage sale, but because I loved it, she wanted me to have it, so she gave it to me. And the gal, the subject matter looks like she's in a sweatshop, and sometimes this feels like a sweatshop down here for me. It's wonderful having middle of winter here, having the nice wood fireplace going. It does get messy having the wood, but it keeps them toasty warm down here. Okay, I'd like to bring you over to, this is where I enjoy having my YouTube video playing while I'm sewing, and I have to say that wonderful people like Donna Jordan from Jordan Fabrics got me through the pandemic with her quilt making videos, and now I'm in love with many bag makers out there. You know who you are, Jessica and Lauren and Kassiah and Susan and Brittany, to name a few. You're my new friends, and I sure enjoy having you as background, because so much of what we do as sewists are by ourselves in a small room or a dining table or wherever we are able to do our craft. But I'm very blessed to have this great space. So over here I have acquired a 1940s binder, and my husband and I are trying to get it back in working order. It is forming good stitches, except I've got a few skip stitches, so we're still working on that. But it's a little unison feed, no reverse, so it's a little tricky to work with, but trying to get that back in order. I have a long arm APQS Millennium on a 14-foot long track. And I've had it since August of 2003. So I've done customer quilts for over 20 years on my long arm, and I've sort of semi-retired from that, but I still keep busy doing donation quilts and gifts for friends and family. Over here I have a little spot where I'm able to wind multiple bobbins. It's a bobbin winder, and it comes in handy when you want to wind a bunch at once. So that's pretty handy. And here's my bolt stash of fabric. When I acquired these cabinets, I said that will be it. That's all the bolts I'll need. And then the next thing you know, I had some overflow, so I asked my dear husband to make me a container that I could keep them off the floor a little bit, so keep the dust off and any spiders can crawl underneath. Basically. So I do have a little overflow of bolts over here. I love this cabinet that I got in around the 1980s. 1980s, yeah. It was a knitting shop that was going out of business, and it had all the knitting cubby holes, and I took some of the center ones out so I could have larger container space, and it's changed over the years, and right now it's housing a lot of vinyls for bag making and some of my other crafts that I do, and my pantograph rolls for my long arm quilting machine, patterns that I use for my long arm. I have some keepsakes that people have given me along the way from machines. This one I purchased, though. This is a, they call it a Japanese clone. After World War II, we gave Japan money to be able to repair their factories and gave them permission to make the model, Singer Model 15 sewing machine. And so this was made in Japan. It's got a beautiful surface and the decals are in great shape, so I love it for its history, and it would work if I just put the motor back on. So I love it for display. And this Brother sewing machine is kind of fun because it's from the 1950s, I believe, and I love all the chrome on it, the hardware, and it reminds me of people that remodel cars, that vintage look. The colors are beautiful and it's fun. Other machines that I've gotten, this is a little Betsy Ross. It does a chain stitch, and this is a Singer Model Sphinx decal, and I think it's a Model 27, and it's got the long shuttle bobbin in it. And I've got a little featherweight body in the corner that could be made into a working featherweight, but it is made into a lamp. And there's a story about that I can get into a little later. So in the corner here I have a monitor, and it lets me know if there's a delivery coming or if I'm waiting for a customer or a friend to show up. So I have a view of the outside, which is good. And over here, this is a wonderful area. You'll find out that I love pegboard. You can change it up, but this is my long arm area with all my long arm threads and my stencils, so that you can chalk your stencil designs. Have them handy. I need a big pressing surface area when you're doing quilt tops, and the backings, pressing the backings before loading on the long arm. And this my husband made out of a couple of pieces of paneling that he glued together to make it strong enough with foldable legs. I really enjoy that. And my iron, it's a Canadian brand, I think, Reliable, model 12015, and it has a nice big water reservoir and great steam. So it really comes in handy. So a place where I can put extra quilts and zippers for my bag making. Us crafters, we love these shoe containers, don't we? They never have shoes in them. This has had thread, it has had paint, and now it has zippers. Comes in handy. Those are great for camping too. Here's a picture that I'm fond of, and I keep it in here to remind me that I rescued 144 Singer featherweight bodies from going to the landfill. And I was so happy that day because I was convinced that my retirement plan would be to get them all in working order. And then I realized what it was going to cost me in parts to get them back in working order, which was going to be too much. And I didn't want to be part of the process of other people parting out perfectly wonderful featherweights. So I ended up making a lot of lamps out of them and selling them as lamps, never drilling or compromising the integrity of the hull, so they all could be made into working machines by someone else. But they are admired as lamps in many homes. So I love my own pop of color, my own toolbox. Every gal should have their own toolbox. This cabinet was a kitchen island cabinet that has been repurposed to be my workstation for my bag making with my supplies for the different hardware that you need. And I also have a lot of featherweight parts, and so I have that handy. I love my zipper pulls in my ice cube tray. So I have any color that I need available. So this cabinet has come in handy. And my press for grommets and rivets and grommets. And this press comes in handy for my cutting pieces. This actually was a button maker given to me, button press, but I'm able to repurpose it and use it for die cuts. So I love on my long arm that these IKEA cabinets fit perfectly underneath my long arm, because you have a lot of stuff when you're a crafter, and I don't need to see it all because it can be overwhelming. So I love everything in its place. So I have the long arm rulers. These cabinets are great. However, I felt it was necessary that I needed a couple of deeper cabinets, deeper drawers, that is. So I asked my dear husband if he could take 2 drawers, take the bottom out, and make them into one. So he did that for me. So I'm able to put taller items like my industrial threads. So he took the bottom out of the above drawer, took 2 panels of wood, and put the door frames together. So now I have some deep drawers. This is a great IKEA hack, I think. So I had some big featherweight parts, and I needed a deep drawer for featherweight motors. So I really am fond of these. Very nice. And that was a good hack. Okay. So here's a 111W155. This is an old Singer that was used at Ford Motor Company when they were making seats, and I acquired it through a relative, and it was in pretty rough shape and rusted, and husband rewired the light. It has a 1/2 horsepower motor, and it sounds like a jet airplane ready to take off. And at the end of the video, if you stay tuned, if you can last that long, I would love to have you hear what that sounds like. So I call this Black Beauty because it is a beautiful machine. It's tricky with no reverse, but it will sew through anything that I put at it. Very thick, heavy duty. And then this is my $1.99 console. And it is a heavy-duty industrial machine that will do a 4-point zigzag. And I needed a machine that I could wheel up to my ping pong table when I'm doing large items that need a lot of room. And the reason I got this model was because it will do a 4-point zigzag pattern. So, and that's used on things like windsurfing sails and tents and things like that that I repair. So I have Black Beauty and the Beast. I took a class with Freddie Moran. My sisters treated me to a class, and so I like this as a background to remind me of a fun time that I had making that quilt. Okay, this machine is a Sailrite Ultra Feed LSZ1. It's a portable walking foot, heavy duty sewing machine, and I like it for its portability and that it'll do a zigzag and go through leather and vinyl. Heavy duty for bag making, it's very handy. My home office space, our home office space, and what I like about, I'm trying to cozy this up and pare down a little bit, but all my machines that I have and own, their manuals, I have them in blue folders, so when I need quick access for information on a machine, because one thread's left to right, one thread's right to left, one thread's front to back. They're all a little different, and so I have handy information. And then my red folders are classes that I have taught in the past, quilting classes, sewing classes, and project boxes, and I'm not buying any more project boxes. The goal is to get through some of these. And so, you know, as crafters, we have stuff. I have a friend who asked me, do you still have all that stuff in your basement? And I smiled and said, yes, I do. Yes, I do. And I really wanted to say, and much more, because that's it. If you're a maker of things, you need to have stuff to make your things. So I started off as a crafter of many things, and I had tons of ribbon and fun stuff. I had tons of ribbon. As a floral designer was my trade. And so I've pared that down a lot into one cabinet now that I've gotten into my ever-changing world of sewing. So everybody wants to see your stash corner. People, this is my stash corner. Well, this is my organized part of my stash corner. So these are IKEA cabinets that all my fabric are put on pieces of cardboard that are from comic book cardboard pieces, so that I can see my colors and easily access what I need. So I've got blues and reds in here. I got some greens in here, and prints, and blacks and whites, and pinks. Up above, I have my 1930s and bits and pieces, bundles, orphan blocks. And in the corner, my husband designed this corner of my stash to have an open area. I needed an open area where I could keep tall boats of things. And so I enjoy that. My IKEA cabinet. This is my little cart. It's been many things. When I was doing mask making during the pandemic, it was full of mask making material, or it's had paint work in the past, but I'm enjoying it now. I had my husband make me a top for it so that I could have a little portable ironing station that I could take wherever I'm sewing, and it's really come in handy. So he took a piece of wood, made me a top that will fit right in there. And I covered it up so that I could roll it around, and whatever station that I'm at, I can have a little ironing pressing surface. It is good for me to get up and walk all the way to my long ironing table, but sometimes you want to just be working, cruise through some piecework.
We can do the needles.
Oh, so here I can't show you this because I don't have permission, but this is messages and pictures from students that I've taught in the past, junior high students, and I keep it in my sewing room to remind me that I do enjoy giving back and getting another generation learning how to sew. It's a great skill. And I tell them they'll never be bored, they'll always have something fun to do. I have my patriotic wall here. My father was a Navy pilot during World War II, and I like to make quilts for wounded soldiers, our veterans. I work with a wonderful group, Miracle Quilts, and so that's my tribute to my father wall. Here's some of my bag making that I've been making some bags out of windsurfing sails that were toasted, and so it's been fun. I have a shop that has been selling some of my bags down in Carolina, North Carolina, and there was a 5K run that had banners in a nearby town, and they had all these heavy-duty pieces of banner material, and so they asked me if I wanted them, and I am making that into tote bags. So trying to keep that out of the landfill and repurposing bags. And I have bags that made from a windsurfing kite material. So I'm having a lot of fun with my sewing. So over here, this is a great height. My husband made me this table. It's a great height for cutting, stripping my fabric, and you'd be surprised that this is not another stitching cabinet, but this is where I like to paint as well, so I needed a spot handy for when I do little paint projects, and so I love having that all together. So when I have people over for sewing days, they are able to help themselves to another pegboard wall where they can find supplies, and it makes it very handy for me to be able to grab what I need at easily access the tools that I use the most. So this is my piecing area. My Bernina 153 is what I like to piece with. This table was a piece of wood that my father gave me, and my husband put the table legs on it, and he built what would be like a drop-in drawer, but it's actually for my sewing machine, can fit right down, custom made for this machine, so that I can easily access the bobbin. It's wonderful being married to an engineer, a supportive husband.
Okay.
So that gives me a nice flat work surface. I am a lover of featherweights. This one will go to one of my daughters. But I like to take it camping, to do piecework when we are taking our vacation in the summer. Next is a Eversewn Sparrow 20. This machine is the one I bought 5 of these and donated them to my daughter, who is an art teacher, her school. And she really wanted to implement a program where the kids would learn that skill. And the reason I picked this machine was because it has a different speed regulator, slow speed, medium, and what I call cheetah speed for the kids. And it has a needle up and down positioner, a lock stitch, a wonderful hold and reverse button, and what the kids aren't aware of yet, but it has 80 built-in stitches. So I just taught over 140 kids how to make tote bags, canvas tote bags, and so this is a machine that can grow with them, and it's fun being part of a new program there. Here's an old Viking machine that I've had for years. probably 25 years, and still stitches very nice. And what I like about it, it has a feature that I can make a nice square around tote bag handles. It'll do directional sewing, so I can easily make a square with a triple stitch. And again, my husband engineered the table so that I have easy access to the bobbin area and a flat surface for feeding my piecework through. So if you want to just do a pan of the room from here. So I have my zones. I have my piecing zone, I have my office space zone, I have my hardware zone, I have my long arm area, and my ping pong table is rarely looking this clean. It's always covered with stuff.
That one fell down.
And one fell down. There you go.
Quilter sampler.
Yeah.
And view.
And a view of the deer and the wild turkeys that grace our property. So I want to thank you for taking the time to look at my sewing space. I've enjoyed watching all the videos of your sewing space, and have gotten a lot of great ideas from those of you out here there, and I hope somebody has picked up a couple of ideas about how I design my space. And do what you love and love what you do. Thanks for watching. Are you ready? This is Black Beauty in action. My Singer 111W 155. It has an industrial motor, half horsepower, and you will hear the power of it. It's like a jet engine taking off. Yes, you can stitch slow on it because of the larger pulley. But with that clutch and half horsepower motor, it is a powerful machine that'll go through anything that I put under it. No reverse, so it takes a little getting used to how you do starts and stops. And even when you turn it off, what's the word, engineer? Inertia?
Inertia.
It keeps going until it winds down. After close to 60 years of sewing, I finally have my dream space. Thank you. There you have it.